Welcome back, everybody. It's another bright and sunshiny spring day, and we've got some work to do, as usual. So today, we're working on Bruce, my 1987 Dodge Ram50 that my daughter thinks is hers, but really it's mine. She drives it all the time, but I still claim it's mine even though I own it and she thinks it's hers, because it's got a leaky rear pinion seal, so it's time to fix it. So if we look under here on the rear differential of this 87 Ram50, you can clearly see that this pinion seal is just leaking everywhere. It's been throwing gear oil onto the gas tank and making it look like maybe there's a leaky tank, but that is all gear lube. Not a bad gas tank, just a bad pinion seal. Fantastic. I have never had this apart, so it's probably safe to assume that no one has ever had this apart because this truck only has 87,000 miles on it. How often do you really take drive shafts off? The answer is not very. So, when stuff has been on here for 30 some years and never been apart, in the rust belt, it's going to stick a little. So I guess while we're down here, I do have one small tip for something like this. If you have a bolt that it goes all the way through to a nut, once you've got it broken loose like this, go ahead and put the wrenches maybe 180 out if you can from each other. And when you're loosening, turn both. Then when you take the open-ended wrench off of here, go back to your starting position. This is going to cut your time in half for unthreading things. Instead of just holding this in place and turning this, you're literally doubling the distance because this one is going clockwise, this one's going counterclockwise. So each half turn is really a full turn. See what I mean? It's going to be the only thing I can think that would possibly be beneficial about seeing me do this. One more to go, and then we'll drop the drive shaft. All right, got that last bolt out. Let's pull this drive shaft down. Can I slip it out of the back of the transmission? Is that a slip yoke? Yes, it is. Well, that's good news. The drive shaft is a front slip yoke, and we shouldn't get any transmission leaks because I've got the back of it jacked up and the front of it's on the ground. Like most rear ends, here is the big nut that's holding the pinion into the differential, and it's also holding this yoke in place. So once we get this nut off, this yoke will come off. So it shouldn't be too bad as long as this isn't put on by some 900-pound gorilla, which it usually is. The nut for this is a 30 millimeter. I don't know if you can tell, but I probably moved it about 1/4 of an inch. Fantastic. This is probably important. Flat washer that was behind the nut. Let's keep that. And now you can see there's gear lube there. I could have drained the differential first, but my plan is just to top it off. So this is our old seal. This is our new seal. That looks like that's probably going to be the same. And I've got my thinnest gasket scraper, and we'll try to get under the outer edge of this and get it punched in and then out of here. And I should really have a seal puller for this, but again, I don't. There we go. So what I did is I actually punched the flat surface here that faces the drive shaft, so that way we could just deform it and get it to pop on its own. We put our new seal in. We want it to be flush. Do sort of need a seal installer, which of course I don't have, but I do have this big 4-wheel drive socket, and this seems to fit perfectly. This does not have a master spline. I don't know if you can see that, but all these splines are exactly the same, so it does not really matter what direction this goes back on. It just has to go back on. We got them started. We are back to hammering to get it to go home. There we go. It always goes on much easier than it comes off. I say that now because it just went on easier than it came off. Flat washer will torque this to spec, and by torque this to spec, I mean we will give the impact everything it has. Probably didn't even get to see that because I knocked you down, but that's back on there. We use the pipe wrench here just to hold this edge, and we got this tightened back down into place. And if I spin this by hand, I don't have any noise at the dust seal there. So we should be good. I may have said this before, maybe I haven't, but I don't always know what I'm doing. And you don't need to be an expert at something to give it a shot. You take a good look at it and you go, uh huh. You get stuck, that's when you go to things like the internet or your friends. And when they look at you like you're stupid, oh, that's when you definitely go and you ask an expert. But not until you've exhausted your friends and your family and the internet. And trust me, I can be exhausting. You got your drive shaft put up in the transmission. What you do is you bring back here and you get a couple bolts put through the drive shaft, and you just turn this pinion back and forth until you can line two of them up. And it's going to support itself. Now you can put the other two bolts in, you can put all the four nuts on. It'll probably still leak, but you know what? It'll be a new leak, which is just like no leak at all. Everybody knows that. It's a blues song. If it wasn't for bad leaks, I'd have no leaks at all. Good song. There's the old adage, if you're going to do something right. Which applies only if you know how to do it right and how to do it wrong. Because if you know how to do it right and how to do it wrong, that's when you can do it right and take shortcuts. And still get the same good result. So, learn your job. Do your job right. Then learn the shortcuts. All right. That being said, let's put gear oil in this thing. You've got to have it on the ground so you can get the proper fill level in here. This appears to be a crescent wrench size, which is odd. Usually, these are metric. It's going to get an ADW90. That's what I have, and it's not going to hurt a thing. I like to buy the gallon pump bottles of gear lube because I can keep an eye on this fill hole, and when it starts coming out of the fill hole, we know it's full. If you're sitting here squeezing a bottle the whole time and spilling it everywhere, it's harder to tell when it's full. Get the gallon. It's not going to expire like milk. You can keep this on the shelf for your entire life. Hand it down to your kids. Let them hand it down to their kids, and it'll still be fine. Where are we at here? So I've wiped everything off, and it's just starting to weep on these threads, so I believe we're at the right spot. We're going to do the pinky test. Dry your pinky off, well, or at least mostly dry. Stick it in the hole, and we should feel fluid right at the bottom of the hole, and we do. As soon as I put my pinky in, so we are good. Get this thing snug. Couple taps, just like that. It's not going anywhere. We got the new pinion seal installed in our 1987 Dodge Ram50, and I am on to the worst part of this entire job, and that is cleaning up all of the tools and getting gear lube off of literally everything within about 6 feet of me. I don't know what it is, but gear lube just seems to get everywhere. It's like anti-seize. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to probably be here cleaning gear lube all the way until I see you next time. Have a good one.